There I am. Oh my goodness. I was talking for a while and then I was blacked out and who knew what was going on. We are standing by for Donald Trump at a Corona rally in Phoenix, Arizona. Coronavirus loves this rally. As you can see, we right now are listening. Well, we're not going to listen to Charlie Cork. And oh boy, my phone is going off because people are going crazy. Let's see here. Okay. And as you can see here, Arizona case numbers are quite high, very, very high. And that is where this rally is currently taking place. So, the logic of that, we don't know. People wondering why we can't hear anything, it's because it's muted. I just don't think we really need to hear this stuff until Donald Trump comes out, which is now, which is right now. So we're going to get to this. This is a disastrous idea, as all of you can imagine. We'll keep the audio down just for copyright purposes. And as this goes on, feel free to send in your super chats and questions and Twitch comments and questions. We will get to them after Trump already sweaty before it has even started. And I expect that we will see a lot more of that. This is a very, very, very bad idea, my friends, but it is happening. Let's see what's going on. The music I want to keep down because of copyright. Oh boy, it's still happening. Yeah. So I don't know how long Trump is expected to speak. He's running about 10 minutes early, scheduled originally for 6:40 p.m. Eastern time. We're about 10 minutes shy of that. And we will... What do we know? What do we know? Let's see what we hear about testing. Let's see what we hear about all sorts of different things. Visibly sweaty Trump prepared to deliver unhinged remarks in Arizona. See what's happening. The music is still playing. Oh, God. Man, isn't this the worst? Isn't this the worst? Trump today, by the way, when asked, were you kidding when you said you tried to reduce coronavirus testing? Because the White House is saying you're kidding. Trump said, I never kid. I'm never kidding. So that was not good. Not good. Arguably criminal, certainly murderous. And is the music still playing? Yeah, okay. Thanks to Matt Chavez, who says, I hate Trump is a few miles away from me again. Jake says, have you ever considered going on the damage report or having John on the show? Would be glad to do either. Andrew Moore says, expecting a red, sweaty, and unhinged event today. Why won't, oh, look, it looks like there's a fight now. Immediately there's a fight. Or no, it's just, I guess that's just how regular Trump teenagers behave. That's not considered a fight. That's normal. Thanks to Androck for the Twitch Prime subscription. How long is this precursor going to be? This is nuts. I might play some of my cameos later. I've been having a good time doing cameos. All right, it looks like we're about to get started.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, it sounds like there's booing and then people chanting USA over it, but it sounds like there's a big booing contingent here.
Go ahead, sit down. We'll be here for a little while. Sit down. Thank you also, Lee Greenwood. Thank you to Lee Greenwood. But I'm thrilled to be in Arizona with thousands of patriotic young Americans who stand up tall for America and refuse to kneel to the radical left.
Oh, he seems high, yeah.
That's true. There is something going on. You feel it, right? You feel
he's hopped up.
You know, the other night, a speech I made on Saturday night in a very good place, and we had a great evening, and the ratings came out.
The ratings.
On television. It was the #1.
Remember, they expected 1 million people and 6,200 showed up. That's the story. They expected 1 million people, 6,200 showed up.
For them, it's all about the ratings.
No, for you, it's all about the ratings.
The other folks back there, CNN and MSDNC, I know they're very happy. No, they're very happy to see that Fox had the #1 show. This is the #1 show in the history of Fox News. That's pretty good.
What?
Saturday night. Let us also show our appreciation to my good friend Charlie. I'll tell you, Charlie is some piece of work.
For some reason, I have Charlie Kirk's phone number in my phone.
Mobilizing a new generation of pro-American student activists. That's what you are, and really smart. And you'll be up here someday. Somebody
They're not booing, they're saying boo earns.
will be up here, right here, who are tough and smart and determined and truly unstoppable. You are. I want to thank also Kimberly, and I want to thank my son. Boy, I watched my son. I got here. Wow. I said, what's this all about?
Trump doesn't know how to actually seem to like his kids because he doesn't. It's funny.
To everyone here today and watching live all across our country, thank you for bravely defending our nation, our values, and our great American heroes.
Oh, man. Thanks, Brian, for the membership. I see that.
You know what's going on because you're on the front lines of a tremendous intellectual struggle for the future of our country.
Intellectual,
really
that's the word I'd
about,
use.
The future of our country. You see what's happening. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. If we weren't here, you could forget it, okay? But we're going to be here.
Such intellectuals like Charlie Kirk.
Going for a long time. November 3rd is a big day. Get out, get the parents, get the friends, get the husband, get the wife, get everybody.
Right.
Now, the difference is they get everybody, even if they're not registered, if they're not citizens.
Here's his voter fraud routine.
If they're here illegally, they get everybody.
Give me some examples of non-citizens voting.
And, you know, you go through a whole nation and you see what's going on, and they report zero illegality. Check out California sometime.
Okay.
Check out the deal that they signed with Judicial Watch. It was, I think, Judicial Watch was like 1 million or 1.5 million people. They settled. They agreed that many people.
Nobody knows what he's talking
illegally,
about.
Shouldn't have been voting. A lot of things they settled.
Man, I'm really thirsty.
And Judicial Watch said, "Look, we were so high. What difference did it make? What difference did it make?" No, they play a very dirty game. You're fighting against an oppressive left-wing ideology that is driven by hate and seeks to purge all dissent. And you understand that. Amazing at that age.
Right.
You're young people generally, a couple of oldsters out there, friends of mine. The radical left demands absolute conformity from every professor, researcher, reporter, journalist, corporation, entertainer.
This sounds like a Stephen Miller line.
Speaker and private citizen. But we have Charlie, and we have our people, and our people are stronger. Our people are stronger, and our people are smarter, and we are the elite. We are the elite. You know,
wait,
you ever notice?
Is he against the elite, or he wants to have the elite on his side? I'm confused.
Well, you know, the elite, I said, what are you talking about, the elite? Who's the elite? They're the elite?
Right.
They're not the elite. You're the elite.
Right,
You
okay.
are. You're smarter. You're better looking.
He seems
You have a better
heat-struck.
future. You know your way around better, believe it or not. There's only one thing they have. They're more vicious. They are vicious. They are vicious people. Anyone who dissents from their orthodoxy must be punished, canceled, or banished. That includes from television. You see it. But you will not be...
I see a lot of people in the chat unable to tell whether this is on script or off script. This is a disastrous on script reading.
I didn't like the tone, and I said, you know, it's really nice.
Now he's off
I'm
script.
here and you're not. I look at the oval of it.
Later, he'll drink water and show us he knows how to use a spoon.
You're the courageous warriors standing in the way of what they want to do and their goals, and standing up for faith and family, God, country, and freedom.
Right.
Freedom.
That's freedom, D-U-M-B. USA, USA. There it is. You knew, you can just feel when it's coming.
Unbelievable spirit. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But the radical left, they hate our history. They hate our values, and they hate everything we prize as Americans, and we're right. Because our country didn't grow great with them.
Okay.
It grew great with you and your thought process and your ideology. The left-wing mob is trying to demolish our heritage so they can replace it with a new repressive regime that they alone control.
In all seriousness, I think it's really important that Trump has nothing to run on. All he's doing is just attacking the left, putting up straw men and taking them down and even struggling to do it. There's no message here. I'd be curious whether he even mentions one policy today.
And tyrants and people that don't love our country, they don't love our country. The left is not trying to promote justice or equality or lift up the downtrodden. They have one goal, the pursuit of their own political power for whatever reason, but that's their goal. That really seems to be their goal or their sickness. And if you give power to people that demolish monuments and attack churches and seize city streets and set fire to buildings,
they don't have power. No one's giving them power.
Then nothing is sacred.
Thanks,
and
Andrew,
no
for the
one is
membership.
safe. We stopped them last night. Do you see that? Andrew Jackson.
Vote Trump. Someone completely unrelated to anything he does in law enforcement prevented a statue from being destroyed.
And others are going to jail? The problem we have is states. They're weak. They're weak. Many of the governors, many of the mayors, you see what's going on. And it's, by the way, just so you understand, it's all liberal Democrat states. Could you imagine if Sleepy Joe ever became president?
Yeah, the states doing the best on coronavirus are overwhelmingly blue states. New England's doing the best. 22 of the worst 24 states are red states. The guy's delirious.
Well, he would have nothing to do with it. Lock him in the Oval Office. Let's just do what we want to do. That's why, and you know, today he's with Obama, President Obama. It only took him, how long, a year and a half to endorse him? What did it take, a year and a half to endorse him? Even after he won, he didn't endorse him for a long time.
That's totally untrue. Very shortly after Biden actually secured the delegates needed, Barack Obama endorsed him. Not that it matters, but just it's all lies.
Everybody to win but Joe. Joe won. But if you remember in my campaign, he fought harder than crooked Hillary. President Obama fought me harder. He said, you cannot let him win. You cannot this. He was all over the place. I said, this guy's spending all of his time campaigning against me.
He was all over the place.
Who won? That's right.
What? I thought Hillary won by 3 million.
And don't forget, I'm only here because of him and Biden. I'm only here because
we
of
know
them.
The reaction from racists
Because
to a black
if they
president.
did a good job, we wouldn't have been here. There would have been no reason. So I'm only here because of President Obama and the job he did, and Sleepy Joe Biden and the job that he didn't do, other than he did a good job for his son. Did a good job for his son. No,
Let's
but
see
I'm
if he
only
mentions $1 billion.
I wouldn't be here.
Hunter
People were
Biden,
very
$1 billion.
unhappy. The fake news doesn't report it. They were very unhappy. There was tremendous dissent, tremendous anger. A lot of people in this audience, I can tell you. But we're here today to declare that we will never cave to the left wing and the left wing intolerance. We will never
Okay. Talk about fighting an invisible enemy.
surrender to mob violence. And we will uphold American freedom, equality, and justice for every citizen of every background. Very strong.
Powerful.
That's who we are. That is what we believe. And that is why we must prevail on November 3rd. We have to prevail. Get out there.
I don't know that this type of story with absolutely no real case for re-election will get him back from 10 points down. I just don't know.
A great gentleman, a great governor of this state. He won by a lot of votes. And I said to him, Governor, how am I doing? He said, you're doing really well. I said, good, because he knows better than anybody. He really has done a tremendous job as governor. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey. Where is Doug?
Where's Ducey?
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. And somebody who we need to keep in the Senate, a woman who works very hard. I just got back from
she's gonna
something
lose.
you like, the border wall, Martha McSally.
Martha. You see this, right? Here's McSally. Let's see how she's doing.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Ugly, ugly, ugly.
Thank you,
She's going to
Martha.
get crushed.
We
by
got to
Mark
get her
Kelly.
in. And Mark Kelly, who she's running against, is
Gonna crush
very
her.
weak on China and lots of other things.
China.
If between Biden and Kelly and these people, they get in, China will own this country, and they don't.
Oh, Kelly's getting in.
We have done great. Before the plague set in, before the plague came over, right? It came over. We were doing the greatest. We had the greatest economy we ever had, the greatest job numbers we ever had, the greatest of everything. There wasn't a thing where we weren't number one.
Soon that will be a year ago. Like he'll be running on a year ago. Things were really great.
They had in 67 years, and we were doing great. And then they said, there's a plague coming over from China. Here it comes. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. And now you saw last week the jobs numbers, the biggest ever. You saw the retail sales numbers.
Check out my clip. You are about to get hit with garbage math. I predicted that they would start saying, we're having the fastest job growth in history. I explained that in a clip.
We're going to have a good third quarter, and right when those numbers are announced, you have your election. So that's hopefully a sign from up there. But I think we're going to do very well.
From the guy running the spotlight.
And they are trying to do their best to keep the country shut down and closed because they'd love those numbers not to be good, but there's not a lot they're going to be able to do about it. Not a lot.
Blue states safely reopening, indoor dining reopening here in Massachusetts. It's a complete and total farce.
Thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being such a great friend, too. Thank you. And we also have some of your warriors, great representatives, and they fought with me on the impeachment hoax. One of the great hoaxes based on a telephone conversation that was perfect. I'm the only one that got impeached in history, hopefully will be the only one, that got impeached over a perfect telephone call, like perfect.
It was just a perfect call.
Perfect. This was like the perfect call. I said, wait a minute. I said, we don't need lawyers, just keep reading. Thank goodness we had it transcribed.
What?
It was very good that we had it, because remember Adam
Is he having a medical event right now?
He made up a phony story. It's what they're all about. I said it before, they're vicious. Paul Gosar, stand up. Paul, where's Paul? Paul, stand up.
Uh-oh. Thanks, Susan, for the membership.
Paul.
You're number 3.
Great guy. There's a man, I spoke to him this morning, Andy Biggs. Andy.
Big Lee.
Great guy. Thank you, Andy. Freedom Caucus. Now that Mark Meadows is our great chief, he's our chief.
Oof.
Mark Meadows. By the way,
Anybody think the crowd knows who these people are?
Mark Meadows. Where's that? Mark Meadows. But Andy took over, and the Freedom Caucus is doing great. Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Freedom Caucus.
Somebody I got to know very well during the hoax. Debbie, let's go. She's great. That's another one.
If you want proof that they don't even know what they're cheering for, on Saturday in Tulsa, Trump said people should go to prison for a year for burning a flag, and the crowd went absolutely crazy. They're supposed constitutional conservatives. They cheered for a year in prison for burning the flag, which is constitutionally protected. They don't know what they're cheering for. They don't know how they found their way in there.
Another warrior, David Schweikert. David, thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you. And a man who's very understated. He just gets it done behind the scenes, never likes to go on television, never likes talking a lot, but he's a great congressman.
Right.
From one of my favorite states, Florida, Matt Gaetz.
Yeah. I'll show you a picture of Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz.
That's relevant.
He keeps it low-key and simple, right? No, actually, he keeps it up and not simple. But he's great, and he does a fantastic job. Thank you, Matt.
This is who Trump is
Along
thanking
with a lot
right
of
here.
great people, Arizona Treasurer Kimberly Yee.
Big thanks to this guy, right?
Kimberly, thank you. House Speaker Rusty Bowers. Rusty. Rusty, thank you, Rusty. Thank you. Senate President, wow, that's a big deal. Karen Fann.
How much time will be spent just naming? Like, if he's just going to name people, I'll thank supporters. I appreciate my supporters much more than whoever Trump is thanking.
Okay. She says yes. She knows. She knows. And Navajo Nation Vice President Myron Lazier. Thank you.
Ooh. Touch and go on that pronunciation.
I also want to recognize a truly courageous woman, Angel Mom. He's a friend of mine, too, by the way.
Yeah, great friend. Let me say thanks to Jeremy, who just grabbed the membership on my website. You're a much better person than anybody Trump's naming. You're member number 4.
Illegal immigration, nobody will ever go through. Hopefully, nobody ever has to go through. Unfortunately, people will have to do it. But she is one of the first people I met. And she lost a magnificent child to an illegal immigrant. And it's just a horrible thing. And she spent her life, she spent the last long period of years fighting and fighting and fighting. And people have gotten to respect her greatly. Mary Ann Mendoza, wherever you might be.
There she is. Political prop, of course.
A lot of guts. He's got a lot of guts.
Trump's policies would not actually deal with the issue he's referring to.
And thank you, a very special thank you to Pastor Luke Barnett and the Dream City Church for hosting us. Where is the pastor? Pastor, is that the pastor?
Thanks to Brian Miller for
Where's
being
the
new
pastor?
member number 5.
Where? I want to see this guy. Oh, he's good. I'll be here. I'll get here someday.
When will Trump get to the policy proposals, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job, Pastor. I hear great things. Thank you very much. We're also joined by a man who became such a superstar overnight. You know, I put him there as a little bit of a filler, to be honest. He did a great job. He was the ambassador to Germany, right? And he was like, you know, I needed somebody to sit, warm out a chair. He wore out the chair. He didn't warm it. He wore it out, right, Matt Gaetz? He wore out the chair. Richard Grinnell.
Horrible. What is this? Like, is this... In 2016, Trump would just read polls during his rallies. Now he just names people.
Are fantastic. Oh, the picture of him walking into the DOJ with a big satchel. And I realized what good shape he's in. He goes, and he's walking. And those guys, and he had lots of gold in those satchels, didn't he, huh?
Imagine watching this and being like, I should vote for this guy.
See what happens. But we caught him. Right? We caught him.
In many countries whose healthcare systems work, if you saw someone talking like this in public, they'd be referred for a free mental health eval, you know, and 72-hour hold, potentially. Here, it's cheered as a presidential rally.
Jeff DeWitt. Jeff, hi. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Debut Shark, for the prime.
Everyone in this room is bound together by a shared set of moral principles and enduring truths.
Which are
We
failing.
believe the United States of America is the greatest and most righteous nation that has ever existed. We're going to keep it that way. We believe that every citizen has the fundamental right to think, to speak, to live, and pray according to their own conscience. We believe that the beloved heroes of American history should not be torn down by militant mobs, but held up as an example.
It's weird that Trump is all about he wants to be with the winners, and yet he's obsessed with keeping the statues of losers of the Civil War up, right? Isn't that a little bit of a conflict?
We stopped them. They were heading toward the Jefferson Memorial. They couldn't care less. I think half of them don't even know who Thomas Jefferson is. How about Ulysses S. Grant?
Ulysses.
They want the Confederate soldiers, but
Ulysses.
all of a sudden they go after Grant. But he's the one that defeated the Confederate soldiers. So what's that all about? How about Gandhi? How about Churchill? You know, Churchill, because this is going outside of our country now. No, we'll stop it. Don't worry. Just
This isn't Giga Chad behavior, right? Giga Chad's good, and this isn't. Can somebody clarify on Twitch, please?
So our heroes are not a source of shame. They are an example and something that you can all look up to, a true example of greatness, a point of pride, and we will honor them and cherish them forever. We will cherish them. And we have to cherish our past. We have to cherish good or bad. We have to understand our past. We have to understand our history. Because if we don't know our history, it could all happen again.
Trump, a student of history. Oh, we have to understand history. It's happening again. That's the problem.
We believe in law and order. We support the men and women of law enforcement. And we stand with the citizens in every city and every community and every part of our country who wish to live in safety, security, dignity, and peace.
Okay.
And we know that American patriots don't bow down to foreign powers. We don't back down.
He literally asked China for help, guys.
And the only authority we worship is our God.
What? What? Pandering is unbecoming of him.
These are the values our country was built upon. These are the values that unite our citizens. And these are the values that powered our civilization to its towering heights.
Is he doing the wind down already without even having done any policy discussion?
Reaching new summits of scientific endeavor, artistic triumph, and human achievement. Guided by these timeless convictions, my administration has been delivering historic gains for the American people.
Right. Right.
Like no one has ever done in the first 3.5 years of a presidency.
Did I miss his plan to repeal and replace Obamacare, or has he not gotten to that yet?
We will have close to 300 federal judges appointed and approved.
That's why he's got to go. We need someone else
300.
picking judges. Quick. Stat.
If you get 10, it's a lot. 300. An all-time record. And very importantly, we confirmed 2 great Supreme Court justices.
Yeah. It's a reminder of why he's got to go.
And we have to win because obviously we need more justices on the Supreme Court.
That's
People
why we have to
don't realize
win.
how important that is.
We do realize
I've
it.
always heard it's the most important thing you can do. I always said defense, but that's right there. Supreme Court justices and judges, and we are setting records.
I guess this is his policy proposal. Undocumented immigrants are bad, and he's going to keep appointing lunatic judges. Okay. Bad policy.
And I very proudly created the 6th branch of the United States Armed Forces,
Space
the
Force.
Space Force.
There it is. People don't even know what the hell they're cheering for. Thanks to everybody gifting
Big
subs
deal.
on Twitch,
That's
by
a
the way.
big deal. That's a big deal. You think of just that. If you did just that, that's like, oh, that's a good presidency. Think of that.
That's a
That's
question.
one of many, many things. We'll go over a few of them, but many, many things. So the Air Force was the last one. That was 75.
Did he say space farts at one point? Did he misspeak, or did I mishear?
Another branch. We're going to have a general, a nice general. We have right now on the Joint Chiefs of Staff a full deal. And that's a great honor because space is going to be very important. At first they smiled when I came up with the idea. I never talked about it in the campaign.
Right.
I don't think I ever mentioned it once. It's just
it
an
didn't
idea
occur to
that
you.
I learned as I was going through military. And really an amazing thing. Space is going to be so
through the
important. That'll be
military.
one of our most important of all. And it's
Weird.
an honor. We're now doing a hydrosonic, I call them super dupers, missile goes 17 times faster than the fastest missile right now.
Yeah, that's not true. We've already gone through the math of that and debunked it. It's not. So nobody told him, I guess. Imagine cheering that the missile's 17 times faster, by the way.
It's a big deal. And VA accountability, a big deal. They've been trying for 50 years, almost 50 years on both. Accountability, they couldn't fire people that treated our vets badly. Now we can say, you're fired. Oh, by the way, you had a big deal. That's right. That's right. You had a big deal in Arizona. I've been reading about it for years now.
I hope that there's a stream after this that will interview people coming out and will say, which of his ideas did you like the best? Like, which idea really made it so you were like, I've got to vote for him? That would be a great thing to do.
So between the unions and civil service and all of the things, they couldn't fire him. But we made it so that you can now say, you're fired, get out. That's right. And they'll give our veterans the care they so richly deserve. You know, choice is so big. Instead of waiting for a week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, you have no idea how bad it was.
Right.
If they have to wait, and they have great doctors, we have great doctors in the VA.
Remember that Veterans Choice, which he's now taking credit for, is an Obama policy signed into law, I believe, in 2014. So if he can't get rid of it, he'll take credit for it, even though Obama did it.
It's cheap. We save money. Most importantly, we save lives.
Yeah.
People would get online and they're okay, not
Obama
feeling
policy.
well. By the time they see a doctor, in some cases, they are terminally ill. It would take weeks and weeks. And now we have VA choice. That's why you see good stories. 91% approval rating.
Funny thing is, and tragic thing is, there's stories like that in the for-profit healthcare system, which Trump has done nothing to deal with. But he's horrified about the ones he can claim to have fixed, which actually Obama fixed.
We passed the largest package of tax cuts and tax reforms, and we passed the largest number of regulation cuts by a factor of many times.
That's a meaningless
No other
statistic.
administration, even though in some cases 8 years and in one case more, nobody has cut regulation like we've cut regulation, not even close.
Lie. Big lie. Big lie.
And it's one of the reasons we did so well.
By the way, imagine being a student for Trump and hearing him say, hey, we cut a bunch of regulations, being like, yeah, that's great.
Obamacare's unfair individual mandate, which punished young Americans like you for the privilege of not buying bad health insurance. That's really what it was.
Bad.
You had the privilege of not buying, and you had to pay for it. Not too good, so we got rid of it. That was a big deal. That was one of the most unpopular things anywhere or on any subject. We will always protect people with pre-existing conditions, and you have Martha's pledge that she is going to do that also. So we're going to do that.
She'll be out
the
in
Democrats
November.
can't make that pledge because they're going to raise your taxes like crazy. I never heard, you know, all my life, I think Doug can maybe explain it, but Doug, all my life, I'd watch. And the best politicians, they want to cut taxes, not raise taxes. All of a sudden, we're in an age where things are very different, let's face it. Ripping down statues. One of the things is the Democrats want to raise your taxes to a level that nobody can even believe.
That's not true.
And it won't be nearly enough to pay for what they want to do. You talk about bad health care.
I actually am hopeful that most people don't fall for these really stupid talking points anymore.
I thought it was supposed to be the other way, right? But
I mean, clearly some people do, but.
Do on November 3rd. I don't think they're going to do too well. We passed Right to Try to give critically ill patients access to life-saving cures so they don't have to travel all around the world and see if they can find, and we've had tremendous success with that. Right to Try, very proud of it. They've been trying to get that one done for 40 years.
You guys notice this elbow thing Trump does all the time?
And I've just come from the Arizona border, Yuma, where we marked the completion of over 220 miles of brand new, beautiful border wall.
Okay.
You know, you don't hear about the wall. They don't want to talk about the wall anymore. Do you know?
Because it's idiotic and you're not
Never
building.
has the Democrat Party fought so hard against something. And do you notice they never talk about the wall? Because in the end, they gave it up. They gave up. We won. We're building it, fully funded.
Completely untrue.
I could build numerous walls with all the money I...
Remember that the promise was, by the end of his first term, a full wall across the U.S.-Mexico border. He's claiming victory, but this was another failed promise.
Flying around. We're going to watch everyone pour into our country, the drone. Remember, they said the wall's obsolete. And I said today, nobody heard it. I thought it was sort of, I think I said it, but I'm sure people have said it over the years. You know, you're in an industry, in many cases, you have a computer. In about 2 weeks, it's old.
Sometimes you have computers.
It's obsolete, right?
That's true.
In technology, I said to some of the people, I meet them all, I say, the problem with your business, it gets obsolete quick. Two things that will never be obsolete. A wheel and a wall, right? A wheel and a wall. Never.
Okay.
And they'd say, that wall is obsolete. With modern technology, no, modern technology is like, let's watch everybody pour in. Now, we have a wall, so we've built 220 miles. We're going to have...
Promise 2,000 by January.
Every single element, I met with Border Patrol, who are fantastic, by the way. Every single element they wanted, you have to see through, which makes sense. You have to do all of the different... We have cameras on it. We have sensors on it. It is just 30 feet high. It's very hard. Very hard. We have anti-climb provision on the top. We have the whole deal.
Stiff wall.
And it's very powerful. And by the way, where that wall is, nobody's getting through. Nobody gets through.
Okay.
We put a chunk, California, off the record. California was saying, please, can we have the wall? This is California. You know, they didn't want the wall. They didn't want the wall. But they wanted the wall, right? Because right next to San Diego is a wonderful town in Mexico. You know the town. I won't mention the name. But they're heavily infected.
He genuinely seems to be having a medical event right now.
I said the other night, did anybody see my speech the other night on Saturday night?
No.
Yeah.
The one where you drank water?
What I said the other night, there's never been anything where they have so many names. I could give you 19 or 20 names for that, right? It's got all different names. Wuhan.
Uh-oh.
Wuhan was catching on.
Is he going to say it again?
Coronavirus, right?
Will he say it?
Kung flu.
Yeah. Imagine cheering for Kung flu. Like, how horrible are the people in the audience?
COVID-19, COVID. I say, what's the 19? COVID-19. Some people can't explain what the 19. Give me the...
This is racist and racist.
That's an odd name. I could give you many, many names. Some people call it the Chinese flu, the China flu, right? They call it the China as opposed to the China. I've never seen anything like it, but here's the story. We are going to be stronger than ever before, and it's going to be soon.
If we replace you. If we replace you.
And I think you'll remember, you know, now Biden's going around like he's a tough guy. You know, he doesn't know where the hell he is. Where are you, Joe? Joe, where are you, Joe? Tell me.
So here's the dementia routine.
But he's going around like, I stood up for China. No, his son walked out with $1.5 billion to manage.
Lie.
And what he did...
Yesterday it was $1 billion, now it's 1.5.
They came out with this T-shirt, and some guy made a fortune. Where's Hunter? Where's... By the way, where is Hunter? Man, he did well as vice president. Could you imagine how Hunter's going to do if this guy ever won? And the father...
Sort of like your kids, right?
No idea what's going on. You know, he could raise his... Is that Kaylee? Where's Kaylee? Where is Kaylee? Where is Kaylee? Where is...
He must have pointed to some other blonde woman in the crowd.
Secretary. Where is she? Where is she?
This is even more weaponized than I thought, actually. I'm actually surprised. Oh, is he bringing Kaylee Maganani out? Imagine Trump criticizing someone else for nepotism.
Everyone's doing well. Our press secretary, these press secretary. I mean, Sarah's going to be the governor of Arkansas pretty soon, I hope. Sean's got his own show, and this one here, she could run whatever the hell she wanted, but I said, don't run. Don't run, just stay here. We like the job you're doing. No, we're doing great. I stood up to China like no other administration in history for decades.
I would encourage you after this, just find like a speech of Trump's from even 4 or 5 years ago, and the degree of cognitive loss is actually stunning.
Devalued their currency, and they like to say our people paid. No, our people didn't pay. They devalued their currency in order to pay it, and they also put money out there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to sell their product. But what happened for many years, there's nobody ever that ripped off the United States like China. Nobody.
China.
Nobody.
I see.
So now we did a deal,
Kelly
but the
and
ink
Jamie,
wasn't
thanks for
dry
signing
when the plague flew in.
Huge. Look at
The
this.
ink wasn't dry. The deal was great. Everybody was happy. I was thrilled. $250 billion worth of purchases over a short period of time. All great. But the ink wasn't dry, and we got hit by the plague, so I'm not too happy about that.
Yeah.
But the long, slow surrender is over, because today and every day we are putting now America first. America comes first.
Here he goes with that again.
We sparked a revolution in domestic energy production, and the United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural.
Imagine not being well on our way to switching over to renewable energy. How embarrassing.
America, as of a couple of years ago, is no longer energy dependent. We are now energy dominant. And because our energy use went down so much during this pandemic, it was a very, very bad period of time, because we have 10 million.
It was horrible. We were dramatically reduced in our polluting. It was just so bad.
We're paying very little for gasoline. That's like the perfect thing, right? That's the perfect thing.
Oil was too cheap. We weren't polluting enough. We got to get back to the way it was.
Criminal justice reform, which nobody was able to get done. Very important. Very important. Very important.
Thanks,
I
Peter,
secured
for the
record and permanent funding for historically black colleges and universities. Nobody knows that.
Trump's been so great.
And we created opportunity zones along with Tim Scott. And since then, countless jobs and $100 billion of new investment have poured into 9,000 of our most distressed neighborhoods in the country. 9,000 opportunity zones. So think of it. I did criminal justice reform.
He did it all.
We did a lot of work on prison reform. We did opportunity zones. Think of this. Think of all we've done. And we've taken care of the black colleges and universities. And
this is apparently not a deep fake. I guess this is really the video from the rally.
Our black communities know it, and I think you're going to see something really great happen, because they understand it. They really understand it. And I'll tell you what, whether it's any community you talk about, but if you take a look at those numbers from pre-virus, but you take a look at them in a year from now, you watch. And
under
your
a different
401s
president,
right now,
hopefully
your
they'll be better, yeah.
401ks, I don't think you want to have somebody else playing with them, because you're just about at a record high, and you put the wrong person in, they will be obliterated. They will be obliterated.
We know.
So we're fighting for school choice, because we know that access to education is a civil right.
I hope everybody knows school choice is code for make public schools fail by taking money away, and then saying, look, they failed, let's take more money away. And then say, look, they failed even harder, let's take more money away. That's what school choice means.
Did you ever see two parties so diametrically opposed to each other? I mean, it's who can be opposed to that? But it's so important, but the Democrats will never, ever allow that to happen. Last month, we returned American astronauts to space aboard American rockets.
He did nothing. He did nothing when it comes to that, and we knew he would try to take credit for it.
To plant our beautiful American flag on planet Mars.
Immigrant from South Africa, Elon Musk, did that. Right? And wait, is that a shithole country, or is that an approved country, according to Trump?
And we destroyed 100% of the ISIS territorial caliphate.
Completely untrue.
And the savage terrorist monsters, al-Baghdadi and Qasem Soleimani, they are both dead. 100%. 100% of the ISIS caliphate. And when I took over, that caliphate was going like this. It was a mess, but we
Caliphate went sideways.
No administration has accomplished more in just 3.5 years. It is. I mean, I could go after, these are just a few points.
Does Trump know these are recorded?
They have just reading the points off. You know that. Yet, as you know, in recent months, America has faced down that unseen enemy, the virus from the distant land that spread across the globe and invaded our shores, but invaded the shores of, think of it, 188 nations. I have a friend, he's a very smart guy, said, I didn't know there were that many nations. I said, actually go over 200, but 188
Trump killed Lieutenant Salami and Admiral Capicola.
Thank you. And tomorrow the fake news will be said, he said he loves somebody. He said he loves somebody. Terrible.
Okay.
Terrible. I'll be in big trouble, the fake news.
Imagine having a president.
They are terrible people. Who are the people that stood up? I just want to stand up, please. Who said, I love you? That's...
Just some sycophants.
Whoa!
Did someone just lift their shirt?
Sit down fast, please. Don't let them see you. That's a lot of press back there. Look at that.
Hey, is there even a crowd? Have we seen the crowd, or could this be a cheering track?
Doug, I never have a speech where it's not like live television. You know, sometimes you'll have one where you can actually speak and you don't have to worry about like one little slip. One tiny little slip, one word. You could say 10 speeches, one little word, they'll say, he's lost it.
Well, when the one little word is, I tried to reduce testing, yeah, that's going to make headlines.
In response, we took swift and early action to ban travel from China very, very early. Remember Nancy Pelosi and that crazy group? Nancy Pelosi. She wanted to dance in the streets of China.
I see people in the chat impressed that I was drinking water with only one hand.
China from coming here. We saved tens of thousands of lives with that early decision. And then we made an early decision on Europe. Yet liberal lawmakers and Democrat politicians condemned this policy. The left rejected science in favor of their fanatical devotion to open borders. They want open borders, not just our southern border. This is why the left is so dangerous. Yeah. They always put their ideology.
For some reason, I envisioned that if Trump tried to say the word vernacular, he would have a lot of trouble. I'm not sure why.
The police, how's that, a good idea? You know, I passed a set. I was in the White House, and there was this set, and it had Dems say, think of it, defund and abolish. I said, what are they going to defund?
Very few people support that. And this is, again, I think it's a mistake for the left to push for abolish and defund the police. Nobody in their right mind is going to get rid of the police. And even the examples that people point to did not really, they reorganized the police. But remember, very few people actually support that. Four more years in prison, more like it. Thanks to Jans Bohm, who's new member 17 today. A lot of signups happening. A lot of signups.
So in addition to issuing a series of aggressive travel bans, my administration launched the greatest national mobilization since World War II. We have done such a great job with this, between the ventilators and all of these things, including testing. We're testing so much. We're now up to 27.5 million tests. I thought it was 25 because it seemed like 25 million. 27, they just told me. 27.5 million tests. Now, when you have all those tests, you have more cases.
Right.
So the news conference said, they have more cases. Well, yeah. If you're
Slow
gonna
it
do
down.
20, and if, let's say, other countries do 1 million, 2 million, big countries, 3 million.
Still doesn't
now,
understand
4 weeks
per capita.
ago, Germany was at 3 million tests. So I don't know what they are now, but I know they're not anywhere near where we are.
Yeah.
So then they'll say,
capita.
we have more cases. Now, look, we want to do testing. We want to do everything. But they use it to make us look bad. But because of it, our mortality rate is so low. It's so great what's happened.
So this requires about 20 minutes of discussion to understand what's going on. But needless to say, Trump certainly doesn't understand what's going on with the mortality rate.
Cases, and they say the cases have jumped, instead of saying what a job we're doing with testing. But we did the job with testing, and we did ventilators, and we came up with tests that we have so many different types of tests. We have the 5-minute test, the 10-minute test. We have tests you send them to a public lab, a private lab. We have tests. It's a lot of tests. And other countries that have done very well with
Trump
tests.
got super high marks on all of the tests.
Job that you've done. Now, the only ones I can't get to say that are the fake news media people. They can't say that. Someday it'll be recognized by history. Someday. But our actions and your selfless sacrifice, and that's what it was, saved hundreds of thousands of lives. We had to do it. And we did the right thing. And I'll tell you what, we did the right thing. Now we got to get it open because, I said, we got to get it open. People need it. People get sick from the other also. It's not just from the virus. They get sick from all of the other things that happen. You know what I mean? We cut through red tape to accelerate breakthrough therapies and vaccines. We're going to have a vaccine very soon. We distributed 1.5 billion pieces of personal protective equipment. We unleashed the medical and logistical power of the United States military. And thanks to our efforts, not a single American who needed a ventilator has been denied a ventilator. That's impossible.
Believe that's untrue from what I've read. Seems to be untrue.
Remember when the New York Governor Cuomo, said he needs 40,000 ventilators? Our people said, no, you need 4,000, maybe 5,000. Anyway, we got him what we thought was right. They never needed all of them. In fact, they gave some to other people, but he didn't need 40,000 as opposed to 4,000 or 5,000. And it worked out great. Then he wanted a hospital built.
It's all working
in the
out
Javits
great,
Convention Center. We built it, but he didn't use it. He could have used it for the older people. It was brand new, not infected, no infection. Then he wanted the boat. He wanted the boat to come up. The beautiful, beautiful hospital ship. You know what that is called, right? And it came up. They could have used it for senior citizens. They didn't use it. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. We're now the chief ventilator producer anywhere in the world. We're helping other countries with ventilators.
I'd love to know what people are
Ventilators are very
screaming.
hard to make. They're very complex. They're big and expensive. And many countries are calling us, asking for help. They need ventilators, and we're able to do it because we're making thousands of ventilators. Think of this, thousands of ventilators a week.
Okay.
And to rescue the U.S. economy, which is happening now, we passed over $3 trillion in relief measures. We suspended student loan payments and interest for college students. And to protect jobs for young Americans just like you, we took historic action to block the entry of foreign workers into our nation.
Keep them out. Right. Great policy.
And we believe that companies should hire American workers and American students first. They have to hire. We got to go American. We got to go American. We were down to 3.4, 3.5% unemployment, and that's one thing.
Yeah.
But now we got to get it back to those numbers. Then we can think, right?
We just got to get this guy a towel.
Taking people in through merit, only through merit. or mostly through merit. I better say mostly because they'll say that's a terrible thing. You know, you can't make a little bit of a slip. They'll say, he said only, what about this, what about that? Generally speaking, we like merit, okay?
Okay.
We want American students to fill American jobs. That's the biggest difference between us and the left. We know that our first duty is to take care of our citizens. Make America
Like protect
great
them from
again.
coronavirus? Is Trump crescendo now?
So before the plague came in, we had the best of everything. We had the best interest rates. We had the best unemployment rates. We had the best job numbers ever. We had everything. Unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans had all reached the lowest rates ever recorded in the history of our country.
Right. So remember, there's nothing special. Like when unemployment is just generally low, it's usually low for every group. There's nothing special that Trump did for any of those groups. Just a little fact check.
Diploma, young people without a college diploma. We were number one on every list you can think of. Women, 75 years. Not as good, I'm sorry. But it was getting ready to hit the all-time. Women, it was the best in 75 years, so I have to apologize. Can you believe that?
Right.
We did the best in 75 years, and I apologize to women. But we were ready to hit the all-time, and then we got hit by something that should have never happened because they could have stopped it. Young people had seen their wages rise by more than 10%. They've never seen anything like that.
Okay. These are mostly lies.
We built the strongest.
It's hard to keep it like these are mostly either lies or out of context or deceptive statements in different ways.
Quickly, it's happening already. We've just added 2.5 million jobs last month. Think of that. That's the largest increase in the history of our country.
Yeah. We just lost 45 million, though.
And just to add the topping, as I mentioned, the 18% in retail sales, the surge, was the biggest jump ever recorded in the history of our country. The stock market in the last 50 days is the best stock market in history. And
what about the last 90, though?
Think of that. Go back a week, 50 days, the strongest 50 days in stock market history. This is during, hopefully, the end of the pandemic.
End? Have you seen what's going on in
But as we fight
Arizona?
to restore, renew, and rebuild our country, the hard left is trying to divide, denigrate, and destroy our country. The American people have watched in horror as left-wing extremists have looted businesses, violently assaulted innocent civilians, and brutally injured hundreds and hundreds of police officers, our great police officers. They even vandalized, that's right, the Lincoln Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial. The radical left thinks the future belongs to them. No, the future belongs to you. It belongs to people that love.
Let's hope not. The people in there seem to think voting Trump's a good idea. If the future belongs to them, we're screwed.
So we're not going to take moral lectures from the same left-wing ideologues who support deadly sanctuary cities, who want to defund our police, defund and abolish our police.
Right.
Think of it. Defund and abolish is now their theme. And who preside over the violence and mayhem of the 20 most dangerous cities in America, 20 for 20 most dangerous, run by Democrats.
Cities in general tend to be run by Democrats. Urban areas tend to be more left-leaning. It's a base rate fallacy, and you'd have to be pretty dumb at this point to fall for it, which is perfect for this crowd.
Detroit and Baltimore is higher than that of El Salvador, Guatemala, or Afghanistan. But the left launches...
And the case growth rate of Arizona is higher than just about any other country.
Travesties, because it doesn't serve their radical agenda. Think of that. Tougher than Afghanistan. all run by Democrats. While their movement is based on hate, ours is based on love, love of our family, love of our nation, and love of our fellow citizens.
Wow. Trump's white knuckling it, huh?
We embrace the noble vision of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and believe that people should not be judged based on the color of their skin, but the content of their character.
Oh, God. What a disgusting attempt. Wow. Sick.
This is a choice of two futures. The left's vision of disunity and discord, or our vision of equal opportunity and equal justice. Every American should take a long look at the bedlam in Seattle, because that's exactly what will come to every city near you, every suburb and community in America, if the radical left Democrats are put in charge. They want to abolish ICE. Do you have any idea how?
Yeah, nobody's really talking about that now. Yeah, for people asking in the chat whether the policy part of the speech has happened, no, there has been no such. I mean, I guess immigrants are bad has been mentioned.
Fight, I agree. But you don't want to do it. Look, I'm looking at some pretty tough guys right here. Look, you're not going to do it. He's not going into an MS-13 nest.
Thanks, Stacy, for the membership. You're number 20.
These guys are tough. They're smart. They're getting them out by the thousands. They're taking MS-13 out of our country by the thousands.
Okay. Nobody knows if that's true.
They want to abolish ICE, get rid of ICE, abolish bail. They want no bail anymore. Just, we put you in for murder. It's okay. Come back whenever you have a chance. You see what's going on in some places like Philadelphia, what's happening in Philadelphia, what's happening in other cities. Look at what's going on in Chicago. What's that all about? Chicago is a great city. But they want to abolish borders and abolish every police department in the country. The Democrats are also trying to rig.
Nobody wants to do that. Like 16% of people want to do that. It's never going to happen.
Ballots, using the China virus as the excuse for allowing people not to go to the polls. Hey, we have a virus coming. We have to send. Think of it, California. He's going to be sending out millions and millions of ballots. Well, where are they going? Where are these ballots going? Who's getting them?
Registered voters.
Who is not getting them?
People who aren't registered.
A little section that's Republican. Will they be stolen from mailboxes as they get put in by the mailmen?
Pretty stupid
Will
strategy.
they be taken from the mailmen and the mailwomen?
Yes. Somebody's going to essentially rob at gunpoint a mail person for ballots.
Will they be counterfeited by groups inside our nation?
No.
Will they be counterfeited maybe by the millions by foreign powers?
No.
Who don't want to see Trump win because nobody has been tougher on trade or making our country great again?
No, that's not going to happen. Nope.
No, mail-in ballots is a disaster for our country. It's going to end up in a big fight. Look.
I'd love to see these conspiracies combined, like the fake news liberal media will steal and counterfeit mailed ballots. For example, just as an idea.
How are they delivered? Who's not getting them? Think of it. It's going to be fraud all over the place. And if you look right now, look at all of the disputes they're having on mail-in ballots. A friend of mine, who's a great guy, had a son who passed away 7 years ago.
Okay.
7 years ago. He came to see me the other day. He said, they just sent to my son, Robert, a mail-in ballot. He died 7 years ago.
So he won't fill it in, he won't send it, and there's no problem. This is not actually a problem.
Mail-in ballots, you introduce something in the middle of an election year, and you have something where it's very complex. You have no time
Thanks, Kathleen.
To fix this very complex process.
New member number
It's very
21.
complex. This will be, in my opinion, the most corrupt election in the history of our country.
Oh, I agree.
And we cannot let this happen. They want it to happen so badly. We believe in the sacred principle of one person, one vote, and that's why we are fighting for the integrity of our elections.
Wrong. That's a lie.
Absentee ballots are fine. Absentee ballots are fine. Like I live in the White House. And if I can't get to Florida, or you live...
Mail-in ballots means people request absentee ballots. That's what we're talking about here.
...get to a polling station, and they have good reason, but they have to go through this process in order to...
Judges widely have found that fear of coronavirus is a good reason to vote absentee.
They went to the polls and voted during World War II. We can safely go to the polls.
Yeah, we have better technology now.
COVID-19.
Imagine cheering for this.
And there is tremendous evidence of fraud.
No, there's not.
Whenever you have mail-in ballots.
Wrong.
And frankly, if we are really going to protect our elections, and some people don't want to hear this, we must have voter ID.
Here we go. Now we're getting into the red meat dog whistles.
So as long as I'm president,
Which hopefully
America
isn't
will
much
be
longer.
a land of fair laws, swift justice, and safe communities. And that's why when rioting and looting broke out in our nation's capital, I quickly deplored. I came in, I deployed the National Guard very quickly. Mark Meadows was there. We had a lot of our people there.
Yeah.
We stopped the violence. We saved that incredible statue. You saw it last night.
Yeah.
And restored peace and order.
Thanks, Laura, for the
to
membership on my
streets, although
website.
I will tell you, they did great damage to the cannons that were on the ground. They did great damage, but we'll get them fixed. We'll get them fixed. Lock them up. Yeah, lock them up. It's incredible how they can do it. Incredible. Well, they did damage. We're lucky. We just got there in time. You saw the ropes going up? We got there just, and I'll tell you, law enforcement did a great job. They rushed him.
Right.
They rushed him.
Only mild clapping for that.
And these people fought back, and the law enforcement was much tougher, much sharper, much better. They really had no trouble handling him.
They put him
It was like
down.
handling a baby for them. It was just like a baby.
Does Trump typically beat the crap out of babies?
People in that group, you
That's
know,
weird.
A lot of spoiled rich people saying, "What are you doing here?"
Weird to praise law enforcement for handling protesters violently as if they were babies. That's odd.
Will face severe and lengthy criminal penalties, 10 years. Many of the young people here today have had your own encounters with left-wing extremists such as Antifa. Joining us today are two students from North Carolina State University. Great place, great state.
They claim to
Chris
have defined
Thomas and Jack
Antifa.
Bishop. Please come on up, fellas.
Oh,
come on
no.
up.
This should be a rare treat. By the way, thank you to everybody getting the memberships. I do see it, and I'm so appreciative. Judy Foreman is number 23. This should be special right now. See what we've got. This is just getting really awkward.
How are you guys, Phoenix?
Oh, my God.
Awesome. Listen, thank you so much, Mr. President. It's great to be out here in Phoenix. This is the first time I've ever been here, and I've got to say it's been the experience of a lifetime.
I'm not going to say anything.
And listen, I'm
These
going
are
to keep
kids.
this short and sweet. I just want to say that conservative censorship on campus is real, and it's happening all across the country
I'm
all
not
the
going to
time.
say anything.
This past year at NC State, we were having a event, our Turning Point chapter was,
I'm not gonna
for
say
Charlie
anything.
Kirk and Laura Trump at her alma mater, NC State. and we were posting advertisements in our free expression tunnel where you're allowed to paint whatever you want. We were making some advertisements, and we had about 20 socialist thugs roll up from Antifa and from the Young Democratic Socialists of America. Now, for our trouble, of course, they rolled up and attacked us, and they started spraying all over the work that we had just done. And for my trouble, I stood the line and tried my best to keep them from defacing our ads. And for my trouble, I was spray painted in the eye.
Oh my God!
And unsurprisingly, of course, the school did nothing. There's a surprise. And they let Antifa run roughshod over our event.
Roughshod.
They let them in the room with us. They were protesting, screaming so loud that you could barely hear the speakers the entire time.
Is this guy okay?
And of course,
Something
NC State,
is very
like
wrong
many
here.
administrations across the country, does the will of the radical left. Meanwhile, conservatives across the country are punished and blacklisted merely for expressing our own opinions. We're ostracized and ousted with no support whatsoever from the administration.
Why are they both shaking in this weird way?
But let me tell you, when administrations across the country do the will of the left and cater to the mob, it's our duty as conservatives to stand up and to fight for our rights and to fight for our nation and to fight for our God.
What?
And you know, Mr. President.
I want to hear from this guy.
Mr. President, my dad, Congressman Dan Bishop, he likes to say that you like to say that he's not a choker.
This guy's the son of a congressman. Real meritocracy. Huh?
And let me tell you, Mr. President, us college conservatives, we ain't chokers neither.
Neither. How old is this guy? I can't tell if he's 60 or 14.
We're going to win this election. We're going to take back the House. We're going to keep the Senate, and we're going to get 4 more years of the best presidency of my lifetime, the presidency of Donald J. Trump.
Trump is, in a sense, the breast president. That seemed from the NDAs, that seems clear.
God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, okay.
Mr. President, thank you so much. It is an honor to be here with you today. Thank you for giving attention to our situation when the mainstream media back there wouldn't touch the story. Conservatives across this country are treated different every day by their professors and other students on campus. I was mocked by a leftist on my campus, not for my conservative beliefs, but for a medical condition I have that impacts my hair growth and my ability to sweat. I learned that when these leftist ideas fail, they resort to personal attacks because they have no facts to back up their radical beliefs. Imagine how much of a fit the mainstream media would have thrown if 15 to 20 kids in MAGA hats had come up and spray painted a kid in the eye and made someone else for a medical condition they have. Our school, North Carolina State, did not do anything about this.
Trump made fun of a guy for his medical condition. What? Trump mimicked the handicapped reporter. What do you mean imagine?
We are blessed to have a president like you that is devoted to protecting free speech on college campuses. And thank you, President Trump and students for Trump. Let's keep America great.
Something is very, very wrong here. Something is very, very wrong here.
Great job, fellas. Thank you. So, I signed an executive order, as you know.
Yeah.
And based on what I'm just hearing, you should maybe be talking to Charlie or somebody around here about defunding that school, because that's
Talk to Charlie Cork about defunding an entire school. There you go.
What the executive order was based on. So you talk to the people. Maybe have your father call. His father's a great congressman, done a great job. So say hello to him. But you talk to them. That's exactly what it was for. We did something that was radical, but it wasn't radical to me.
Right, not radical
you have
enough.
to be heard. And if you can't be heard, Let's talk about it, okay? As the radical left inflict violence on American streets, they're also waging war on timeless American values like freedom of speech, which is what we're just talking about. Anyone who dares to speak the truth is canceled, censored, deplatformed, fired, expelled, harassed, abused, boycotted, deprived of a livelihood, or even physically assaulted. Those times will be changing very soon.
I hope so.
You can judge a movement by its behavior, and the young patriots here today don't destroy property. You don't burn buildings. You don't punish dissenters. And you don't try to erase the people with whom you disagree. It's called civilized people. You're civilized people.
Okay.
And yet, remember I said this, you're civilized, but you're much tougher
Right.
than the other side. You're much tougher, much tougher. You conduct yourselves with
Everybody's very tough, and Trump was just inspecting the bunker that night.
the facts and the history all on your side. We're joined today by Reagan Escoda, a student at Northwestern
Can I get
State
that last name again, please?
University of Louisiana. Reagan became a target of liberal cancel culture when she dared to stand up for her Christian values instead of bowing to political correctness. Reagan, please come up and say a few words.
Uh-oh. This is getting very problematic, guys. Thanks to Don, Catherine, Benjamin, and another Catherine for the memberships, up to 27.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for being here today with all of us and for inviting me up here to tell of my experience with cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
My name is Reagan Escaday. I graduated from Northwestern State
For
University
being the tough guys, everybody's very, very much a victim. Have you noticed that?
job at a small private insurance company in Louisiana. A few weeks ago, amidst all this chaos that we're seeing with the Black Lives Matter movement, I made a video on my Instagram, and I talked about how disappointed I am in the church's reaction to the Black Lives Matter movement. I've seen pastors call for white congregants to kneel and to apologize for the skin that God gave them. And I addressed these evangelical pastors and leaders and reminded them that racism is a problem in the heart. It is a sin problem that cannot be resolved by any law, protest, or march.
Right. Why even do the civil rights movement? It's a problem in the heart. I mean, we didn't even need we didn't need Brown v. Board of Education. We didn't need any of it. It's just in the heart, guys.
And so, of course, my leftist followers didn't appreciate this message at all.
She has followers?
I had my name blasted all over social media. And people told me, you know, I'm ashamed to have ever called you my friend. I've lost all respect for you.
Okay.
I love y'all. And so, an ex-coworker of
Hey guys,
mine,
this is a presidential rally.
racist and homophobic, and she listed my place of employment and called for people to call my employer and have me fired.
Isn't that speech?
There were death threats made to the owners.
That's not okay.
There were threats to knock down the building. Law enforcement had to get involved. And due to the crazy reaction from the leftist mob, my employer told me that they came to the conclusion that they needed to terminate my employment. But here's the thing. Losing my job is a small price to pay when God's name is being glorified.
Okay.
And he will always make his name known.
Is everyone in there super religious, or are they just kind of going with the crowd?
I share this story with you because what happened to me is just a small example of something that's happening on a much larger scale in our nation.
Yeah, a lot of people on social media who shouldn't be.
Was canceled. And if you didn't know, Nancy Green, the original first Aunt Jemima, she was a picture of the American dream. She was a freed slave who went on to be the face of the pancake syrup that we love and have in our pantries today.
Yeah.
She fought for equality.
The foremost civil rights issue of our time. We really like Aunt Jemima syrup.
And might I mention how privileged we are as a nation if our biggest concern is a bottle of pancake syrup?
Well, it's not the biggest concern. Great job, Regan.
And more recently, we're seeing a call for statues of Jesus Christ to be torn down.
Interesting. If they're on government property, they should be, because it's an establishment of one religion over others.
Social justice warrior, and this week he's the face of white supremacy. And Jimmy Kimmel has been calling our president racist for years, and it turns out he's the racist.
Racism.
There's governors that are getting away with wearing blackface. That's just sliding under the radar. So I want to encourage you all to stand firm in your beliefs. We need truth. We need hard, cold facts and truth now more than we ever have before. And we are so blessed to have a president who stands on the front lines, walks through the fire every day.
Guys, they think Trump was sent by God. They think Trump was sent by God. Trump can barely walk down a ramp and drink water. They think he was sent by God.
Do not apologize to the mob. And thank you, President Trump, for never apologizing to the mob, for always standing firm, for being here for the American people, and for fighting for our best interests, because you are the change that we need to see in America. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Thank you, Reagan.
They've got a
That
rap
was
soon.
beautiful. You know, as your story reminds us, Reagan, true courage is defying the left's orthodoxy.
As your story reminds us, I shouldn't be here picking who gets to speak.
Because we're winning and we're going to win, but you don't submit. The fake news progressive companies right there, they're right back there watching us,
Right back there.
and other institutions merely towing the left-wing line have sacrificed their intellectual credibility and professional integrity. They have very little integrity left.
When I think of intellectual credibility, I think of Trump and Stephen Miller and those guys.
You're showing real guts and making a virtuous stand. With the rise of social media, massive multinational tech companies have tried to clamp down on American democracy. That even means on me.
Right.
And as everyone knows, they're using their enormous power to silence conservative voices. You know that. It's not even close. I don't even think they're hiding it anymore. To protect our democracy, I signed an executive order to remove legal protections for social media companies that unjustly censor American citizens.
Which interpreted properly means Twitter must ban Trump, but that's a story for another day.
The radical left is also working to eliminate free speech on our college campuses. With us today is Nia Moore, a student at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota, who has experiences persecution firsthand. Nia, please come up, please.
More carefully chosen props.
First, I just want to say thank you to Mr. President for having me on stage today.
Okay.
So, if you didn't know much about Minnesota about a month ago, I'm sure you've seen us in the headlines over the past few weeks. The DFL is successfully moving our state farther to the left more and more each day. Now, that isn't because people aren't conservative in Minnesota. It's because they're hell-bent on demonizing us at every turn. I began my career working in politics with Turning Point USA,
Bad idea. First mistake.
Unfortunately, due to the leftist culture of my campus at North Hennepin, we were shut down almost immediately and were refused official recognition. I was told by the faculty that political groups were not welcome on campus. However, they had multiple leftist groups that supported the Black Lives Matter movement. They were pro-abortion, and they advocated for Bernie Sanders. I know.
This is one of those things where it's like, who knows how much of this story is even true? It's like there are these out of context anecdotes whose veracity we can't even really know in the moment, and it's all just optics and propaganda for the purposes of this rally.
Republicans and the president take the blame for what has taken place. Unfortunately, the murder of George Floyd has created absolute chaos in my state of Minnesota.
It's created chaos more than just from that sense.
That's my place. Ever since the murder of George Floyd, I have not seen as much division, deceit, and destruction in my life. Black Lives Matter only makes a scene during election years.
That was worded strangely. It almost sounded like she was saying things have improved. That was weird.
Important election of our time. Black Lives Matter is only about police brutality once every 4 years. In between, they're heavily funding a push for leftist and LGBTQ plus agendas.
Yeah.
The Black community's culture,
Agendas like non-discrimination and being treated fairly.
hidden agendas, and play on the community's biggest fear.
This is bad, like really bad.
If Black Lives Matter truly cared about Black lives, they would not have allowed the riots to destroy Black businesses and Black communities.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly peaceful, obviously, as we know, protesters protesting with some bad actors that seek to take advantage of the situation.
If they cared about Black lives, they would defund Planned Parenthood.
Whoa, very, very weaponized. Yeah, this is really dumb. It's sad, really.
If Black Lives Matter cared about Black lives, they would address the astronomically high numbers of Black-on-Black crime in inner cities.
Right. Remember that's a ruse. If you're Black and you're the victim of a crime, the perpetrator was probably Black. If you're white and you're the victim of a crime, by almost the exact numbers, the perpetrator of that crime was white, because there's a lot of people just around people that are like them. And that is, I mean, I can't even believe they're still using that one.
We do believe Black Lives Matter. We just believe they all matter, not just the lives the left chooses to exploit.
I would love a mention of the war on drugs at some point, maybe.
I am the field director for Ilhan Omar's challenger, Lacey Johnson.
Okay.
He is the first Republican in Minnesota to have Black Lives Matter activists and lifelong Democrats want to hear what he has to say.
What?
Because of that, they've tried to silence us at every turn. People are fed up and they're getting nervous.
Very nervous.
They
I
will
would
stop
rap.
at nothing to keep their hold on us, even if that means lying to the very people they're supposed to represent. Mr. President, I just want to say thank you for being a great example of a big tent Republican.
I would cut.
The president has never needed the Black vote to win, but he has still done incredible work with prison reform,
He'll be lucky to get 8%.
lowering Black unemployment, funding HBCUs, and stimulating the Black community with opportunity zones.
In conclusion, please vote Trump.
All without pandering.
Did you guys hear that last part? Oh, without
Once upon a
pandering.
time, the president asked the Black community what we had to lose.
Right, a
We
lot.
didn't have anything, but now we do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Dear God,
Thank you.
what a sad state of affairs.
Thank you, Neil.
It's like a combination of gaslighting, red meat, and lies. I don't even know.
Just tell you, first of all, thank you very much. And so heartfelt. I could see that. And I also issued a historical executive order defending free speech, and
Not
all
historic,
of this is
historical.
on college campuses. And I will tell you that it's something that's being used by people like Charlie and used very well. And it's opening up a whole new voice. And
Yep.
it's my honor to have done it. Under my order, any college that refuses to let you speak stands to lose billions of dollars in terms of the overall system.
That'll be canceled soon.
So we've done a lot. We've really gone very far. We've taken it to a level that nobody's ever taken it, and it's my honor to have done it. It's people like you that I do it for. When you think about it, it's people like you. You're going to be the ones. You're going to be the ones that are at the crossroads of history. That's where you are right now. You're at a crossroads. Everything our forefathers built, everything generations past, they shed their blood to defend, the very survival of our freedoms, our rights, and our republic, they're all at stake. This is a very big time in our country.
Right.
It's a time like perhaps no other. But standing here before you today, I have never been more confident that America will rise to new heights of greatness and glory.
Hopefully by realizing they got to vote for somebody else thanks to this speech.
Hearts are filled with the fire and the fervor of true American patriots. The great spirit of righteous defiance stirs deep within you. I see that. It's the same spirit that drove America's founders and frontiersmen, people that built our nation, people that succeeded, people that worked hard, people that failed. Some people failed and then they made it bigger than anyone.
He seems to be really leaning on that. I mean, he doesn't look well. He's leaning on the podium. He's very, very sweaty, as you can tell. Something seems wrong.
To establish this noble fortress of freedom. It's the same spirit that compels each of you to stand strong against the dull, mindless, soul-crushing conformity mandated by far-left pundits, professors, and liberal politicians. They're taking our country in the wrong direction. And it's the same fierce and untamed American spirit that will lead the young, patriotic Americans of this generation to serve our country, and you will serve it well. You will serve it so well.
He does seem to be coming down now, yeah.
Restore our economy quickly. We will rebuild our nation. We will revitalize our cities. We will take back our universities and colleges. And we will preserve the America we love for you and for your children. We will defend our values, our voices, our faith, our heritage, our borders, our rights, and our God-given freedoms. Calling on the boldness and bravery of your generation, we will unite citizens of every race and color, religion and creed as one people, one family, and one extraordinary nation under God.
Maybe by voting in someone else, but otherwise I don't see it.
And with your help, this moment will be a turning point in American history that will be remembered and celebrated for generations to come.
I hope so.
For our young people, for our economy, for our communities, and for our beloved country, the best is yet to come. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my goodness. If we were wondering how weaponized and unhinged this would be, We probably underestimated. We probably underestimated. Absolutely stunning combination of lies, propaganda, disinformation, sweating, name dropping. What am I missing here? I mean, this is just, if the best is coming, it's got to be under somebody else. I don't know. There's Charlie Kirk and Don Jr., who Trump seems to recognize, at least as his son. Wow, 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 wow. What an incredible, incredible day. I don't know how much of it is based on over the counter decongestants. I don't know how much of it is based on cognitive circumstances or whatever else, but just absolutely incredible. And we're going to have a lot of analysis of it tomorrow. I do want to say thanks to so many people who signed up. James was new member number 28 at joinpacman.com. Alexis Vorkin was number 29. Richard Schaefer was number 30. I mean, these membership numbers are numbers we've never seen before. Rajendra Bala was number 31. Elizabeth Missile was number 32. Super duper missile, as Trump said. Don Magner is number 30. I can't even thank everybody because people have been just exploding. It's absolutely unbelievable. What an event. What an event. Before you head out, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. We do stream these events occasionally. We also post videos. I'm David, by the way, if you just stumbled across this. Please do hit that subscribe button if you're heading out, but I've got a couple other things to show you. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure to follow. We did just surpass 37,000 followers on Twitch. And we're actually at 666 Twitch subscribers, which seems like an ominous number if you care about that sort of thing. So that's just a little something to bear in mind. Folks asked me to play a couple of the cameos that I've been doing. I am on Cameo now, and this may have been a huge mistake. I'm on Cameo at cameo.com/David Pakman or just David Pakman in the app. Just like as an example, I'll play one of these. Here's a cameo that I did, and anybody can get these done. Let's take a listen to just one of them.
Hey, Matt. So I heard from Casey that you spent $600 on an online charisma class. Now, maybe you're very wealthy, and if that's the case, that's fine. But in my experience, you can find a lot of that material for free. And I would even be glad for you to call into my show when I'm taking live calls and talk about what I'm told is maybe a desire to improve some dating skills.
Okay. So anyway, I'll just pick one other random one. I'll pick one from today. Let's see. This one's also marked advice. Let's take I don't even know what I'm saying in half of these.
So I heard that you may be falling into being one of these so-called enlightened centrists who thinks maybe all opinions.
Okay, all right, we're not going to do more. Anyway, you guys, you sort of get the idea of what's going on there. Thank you to everybody who joined me. That's going to do it for today. We've got more clips coming. I might stream tomorrow. Then we've got a little vacation coming up. And so much more is happening. I mean, it's going to be a crazy 4.5 months until the election. I will be here with you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.